And there was a little cholito dude, and his old lady took the baby inside, and he's trying to fold up the stroller in front of me. Like, my windshield is like the movie screen, and this dude is looking around trying to find the lever that collapses the stroller. So I'm watching him, and it's funny because it's turning, and the wheels are turning, and he can't figure it out, and she's knocking on the window, and he's like, wait. And I rolled the window down, and I said to him, I said, you all right, man? He turns over, he looks at me, he goes, I just wanted my dick sucked. Hello, everyone. Hola, mis amigos. You're listening to Oh My God Hi, Hijo de Dios. Hola. With me, George Lopez. Porque, ¿sabes qué? Let's do the show. Porque I got a lot of things to do. I gotta go to that dry cleaner ahí. My kid fell. Se pegó la cabeza. I gotta go get some Neosporin Paul.
You know what George is?
Oh, I'm sure he's around here somewhere.
What's his name? George?
Lopez.
George Lopez.
Oh my God!
OMG.
OMG Hi!
Oh my God, hi.
Hindsight is 20/20, and you can't change the past, but what if you could get a little help from your future self? Maybe you'd ask to borrow a little cash. Now you can with Dave. Dave is a banking app that can help you get up to $500 instantly with extra cash. That's more money to fill your tank, buy a wedding gift, or catch up on bills. There's no interest and no credit check.
Download Dave from the App Store now. That's DAVE. And sign up for extra cash account and get up to $500 instantly. Instant transfer fees apply.
Or it sucks when you go to when you're looking at a funhouse mirror and you look better.
And you're like, shit,
If I just curve up.
Where are you guys next week?
Oh yeah, this is a better angle. There you go.
Do we have any beer? You have beer? You drink?
I don't drink
At all?
Not at all.
Good. Are you Muslim?
No, I just don't drink. I just never have.
every Muslim
Never
would be
like.
fucking not drinking.
I know. Yeah, but I just gotta be so extreme.
Are you Muslim?
I'm not Muslim, I drink.
Yeah.
No, but you just never had a taste for it?
I never had a taste for it. I just never did.
Weed?
No, actually, I just recently started
Using it to...
like a little CBD like weed mix, but like very small. The most I'll do is like 1/4, and that's like 20%.
Right.
And I actually like that. I got some gummies too.
Do you sleep with it, or do you...
So yeah, sometimes I have these like this new company called 5 CBD. So it'll be like 25 milligrams. No, 5 milligrams of THC, and then the rest is CBD. Take that, and it's chill. I don't like being high. I don't like that feeling.
You know, God, it's just so different now than it used to be when we went out. We used to see how fucked up we could get.
Yeah.
Like there's no limit.
But see,
like you have a dude and he's like between cars, you're like, fuck the hell, and it's just like there was no social anything to it. Like,
no social stigma.
crazy.
I know, but I used to be around. I mean, I was around a lot of people that used to really get blitzed. You know what I mean? But
He doesn't drink, though.
I don't drink.
Which one do you want?
What else you got? You got some water? Can I get some water? I don't want to look like it's gonna look terrible. Like
What else do you have?
It's fine.
Has this been running? Do you need water? Do we have water?
It's been running, yeah. Yeah, I can get you some water. Do you want sparkling or?
Yeah, I better get sparkling so I can feel fancy.
Nobody had sparkling either. Like,
Yeah, but
It
drinking.
tastes like Alka-Seltzer when I was a kid. I never drank that. Not until recently
things
did
have
I start
changed so
drinking.
much.
Man, I was at a 1999
Welcome.
party.
Cheers.
One of those. One of those.
In 1999?
Yeah, when it was gonna.
Turn?
Yeah. When the world was gonna end, right? Mm-hmm. I was at a New Year's party, and that was when I really decided for sure I was never gonna drink.
And growing up, did you drink?
No, not at all.
Did your mom drink?
No.
Did your dad drink?
No, I know I never met my dad. Thanks for bringing that up.
You never met
But
your dad?
no.
I never met my dad.
Yeah, isn't that weird? Did you ever try?
You know what, man? It's a crazy thing. Like, first of all, like, do you have pictures of your dad?
No, I have. I don't even know.
I don't have any pictures of my dad.
Yeah,
I got paintings of my dad.
paintings. How old are you, motherfuckers?
Yeah. Oh, my dad, as a result of a documentary.
Old enough to fucking paint. Don't move.
Yeah, that was pictures.
No, they did a portrait. There was a documentary that dropped on Netflix.
You know Gil's background?
No.
You don't? Oh, I love telling fucking people.
Let's do it. Oh, perfect.
So Gil,
So now
I'll let you.
Now I feel like I'm one of the gang now.
It's got to be the craziest name for water. Liquid Death. Cum stain.
Cheers.
Cum stain Astroglide. Cheers. Okay.
Christ, man.
This is. Will you stop looking at yourself?
I really got to stop.
Do you see where I'm looking? I'm looking over here.
Yeah, I know. I get it.
I'm not even fucking around over there. Gil, introduce yourself to Erik Griffin.
Gil Carrillo, friend with George now. George, I met George because he had watched the podcast.
About you, not me.
There was a 4-part documentary on Netflix about a case that I was involved in, the Night Stalker case.
Oh, right. Now, you know what? I know now. Sorry.
Are you into crime as well?
Yes.
Why is everybody into what? Everybody
it's
loves
fascinating.
crime.
You know why? Because I think that people are inherently good, and when people aren't, we are fascinated by that psychopath psychology. You know, like I can forgive anyone a crime that they do. Right? It's how they act in the aftermath.
Right.
That's the psychopath. In my house, I got a bunch of junior detectives. Everybody wants to solve the crime. They watch it. I know who did it. This is how they did it. And the guys that do it, I understand why they did what they did. I don't condone what they did. But I just understand it makes it a lot easier to talk to them.
Let me ask you a question, though.
Yes,
let me ask you a question.
Sure.
That's fascinating what you just said, because to me it means, like, do you think it's important to understand the mind of the people that you're chasing after? Meaning, like, you have to find that connection to be like, I know why they did this. Does that help you in trying to figure out who they are, where they are, how they did it, why they did it?
Immensely. I need to know. They stabbed a kid 75 times. I need to have the understand, why did they do that? And that, what was their motivation to do that? And that in fact was a sexual deviant. So now I know I'm looking for a sexual deviant, so it helps me along in the case.
Now, is there any part of you that, like, got a connection to it, in a sense that, like, not that you felt the same thing that they felt, but was there ever a time where, like, it was messing with you? You know what I mean? To really, like, get into the mind of a killer. Is there any part of you that, like, tapped into your own self to being like, could I do this? Could I be a killer?
Well, I did talk to the shrink at one time while we were going through trial. Because I had to ask the shrink, is it wrong for me to, I have dreams of how I'm going to kill these guys while we're in trial.
Right.
And so the only thing that kept me from doing it is every scenario in my mind where I know what I wanted to do, I was always going to get caught. And it was wrong. I didn't want to, so I didn't have the...
Well, you didn't want to get caught.
I didn't want to get caught.
It sounds to me like if they said you're not going to get, if there was a scenario
give
where
me a freebie.
You had a freebie.
Well,
you
if I had a freebie, maybe, because I have been involved in this type of work, and before that I had been in combat in Vietnam. So,
jeez, man.
So
thank you for your service. And
all of this. Thank you. It's just a matter of, you do what you got to do, and you just don't panic. And so I could never get out alive.
I feel like I'm interviewing you guys. This is so fascinating.
No, what I find interesting about Gil is that there's a mandatory retirement in the sheriff's office, right? Or in law enforcement.
Used to be. No longer. State law changed it.
In whatever position anybody has, that you spend 40 years on a job, and then you're there and you enjoy your job. And then, for whatever reason, wherever you work, coming up, when you turn 67, Bill, is mandatory retire. You have to retire. Mm-hmm. But he loves his job. He loves what he does. And where do you go when you turn 67 plus 1 day? Yeah. Where do you go for the rest of your life? A lot of dudes pass away, man, because it's a cycle of your life. You have some place when you have nowhere to go in real life, like you can choose not to go someplace or choose to do this or that. But when you get to the age in your life and usually it gets sadder as you get older, it does.
Yeah, for real.
I can say you guys are going to go through the same thing. Yeah. Right now, the public needs you. You satisfy their need, their want to laugh, the comedy that you guys put on. And you have crowds that pay money to go see you.
Did you interrupt because you thought I was going to a place where it was going to be boring?
No, ching, gao.
Because of the thing, but also, you still have value to provide this fucking intelligence that you have, that all of a sudden a company says, thank you.
Yeah.
But
how about this? Taking about what you're talking about, I say this is why we shouldn't define ourselves by what we do.
That's
because and that's what we kind of learned in the pandemic. You know, like for a long time I defined I'm a comic. You know,
Right.
I'm an actor. I'm a this. And when they got taken away, we had to look at ourselves and go, well, who am I now? Then you come to find out, actually, you're more than that. You're also a husband, a brother, a son, a father, a friend, or you're like, and you find hobbies. And I think that's important too, to be a well-rounded person in the event that what you love and your passion gets taken away.
Listen, I started doing stand-up June 4th of 1979. I never thought I would live to see the day where a comedian would make sense about how a fucking person's life should be. He's right. It's hard to think that a comedian, and this was one of the things I wanted to ask you, it's hard to think that a comedian thinks rationally. We think we have to come from a place where we're in pain and you do it because you suffer. You've just separated yourself from the art where, like you said, why do we have to do it so it defines us? A lot of times I ask myself, because I've been doing it for so long, that there is a bit of a shield up. Where are you without that shield? And maybe, like, I rarely go out. Like, I was doing this movie, and the days I didn't work, or most of the time, I just stayed in. And I'm just kind of used to staying in. Mm-hmm. But I think even at my age, I'm still trying to really figure out what am I if I were to retire? Like, as you said, what am I without all of the things gone? And the guy who I talked to, my therapist, said, you chose the things that you can do singularly. I grew up an only child, spent a lot of time at home.
I was an only child too.
I have a golf and I play guitar. Both you could do, and you pick stand-up, but you need an audience, but you can travel alone. So you pick the things that are singular in a life, in a world filled with people. You chose the things that isolate you.
But I think that shield that you put up isn't a shield from, I think it's a shield more from protecting against, like, really taking your feelings, out. Like,
Yeah.
like I'm dealing now with my therapist about what would it look like if I didn't compartmentalize, And it's like that, 'cause that's what we do. We compartmentalize our lives. Because, like, let's say you're going on a road trip, so you can't be thinking about all the stuff that's going on in my life,
Right.
because I have to be on point because I'm
Yes.
doing these shows.
That's right.
So you compartmentalize. But what happens when, like, I always think when you compartmentalize, it's like a TV dinner, So you have your Salisbury steak and you got the thing. So that's what you do. But what happens when that TV dinner gets shaken up and stuff starts to spill into other areas? We shield ourselves because we don't want to deal with those emotions and feelings that go with that. And so that's what we learned to do, especially when you're like, well, I'm solo too. I was an only child. But even your example, like you say, you play the guitar by yourself because you can. But you know what it sounds like when you have a guitar with another guitar and some drums and a thing? It just expands it. It makes it even more beautiful. And so, I don't know. I just feel
That's a
like,
good point.
and I think also that, like, we rationalize things because we're trying to find the funny. You know what I mean?
Right.
We're trying to find the this is, these are the things, but it's still very a deep thought process that brings emotions that we don't want to deal with,
So Erik, in the years of my travel and stuff, like, you become a very good auditory processor, hearing wise, where you can hear somebody and know exactly their depth or their connection to an audience. And when I saw you at the Laugh Factory and I saw you doing stand-up, I had to go and look because I said, this dude has got a great mind and this dude is really funny. And the stuff that he's talking about is really out of the norm. And I was just like, wow, man,
Well,
this
thank you.
is
I
like,
appreciate that.
yeah, man, yeah, like, I see a bunch of, or if you don't watch it, but when you hear it, it's going to grab your attention. It's like a car. When somebody starts a car and you hear the engine, you're like, oh shit, what you got in there? And that's the way I felt when I saw you.
I appreciate that, but it's like it's hard to watch comedy when you're a comic,
Right?
Especially someone that you have been in. How many generations of comedy have you been in, and you've seen the evolution of. So after a while, you go, man, you see someone and you go, they're entertaining. This is funny, but, like, I don't want to watch this right now because it's like I know what's happening,
Right.
You know what I mean. You just kind of. How many friends do you have, or, like, people in comedy, where have you really sat down and watched them? Like of people that you know personally, how many times have you watched them do an hour?
Right.
I would say I have lifelong friends in comedy that I've never watched them do an hour.
Yeah.
But sometimes I feel like we should. Sometimes it's rare to, you sit and watch your friends. It's hard.
How did you become? Did you become a fan of stand-up, and a fan of comedy before here? Yes.
Oh, yes. Like I said, first time I came here, I'd paid at least 4 or 5 times to see you do stand-up.
Yeah.
I've been Dom Herrera.
Dom Herrera, yeah.
I remember that's the first comedian, that's the first stand-up comedian I'd ever seen. That was years ago.
Yep.
Up in Hollywood. But I love stand-up. I love anything. I love stand-up or anything that's going to make me laugh.
Right.
Laughter is good for the soul.
So because of you, go ahead.
So no, go ahead.
I was going to say, so because of the things that you've done and do, I bet I would venture to say you're probably a great comedy audience member, because the things that society takes serious about comedy right now, you probably look and just go, what the fuck is wrong with you guys?
Yeah.
There's actually real shit going on.
Exactly.
I deal with murderers and killers and rapists and these kinds of things, and you guys are mad at a comic.
Yeah.
So you probably are just you probably like the darker stuff too when you watch a comedy, right?
I love dark, dirty, even clean. Yeah, it doesn't matter.
Of course. But I'm saying you appreciate it
I do
for the art
appreciate
form.
what they do, and there is nobody in that audience that'll laugh louder than me. And people say I have a contagious laugh. I laugh and I get going, and it's funny.
Good for you.
It used to be rare to see. It's funny because there is a kind of a female comedians. Like when I in the 80s, there wasn't a lot of female comedians, and very few of them that were writers. Now they produce shows, or they create shows, and all that stuff. So the evolution of it has been good. But they have so much to say, man. That's so funny. And we bring them in here, and the thing that I like, even for me, is because you don't see it, is when they come in and they have a different point of view that it's really refreshing for he and I to see it.
Well, you know what that is? That's about perspective, man.
Yeah.
And that's the thing that's the difference. It's like, when you think about, I think one of the things that made Seinfeld so funny, the show, was that they had some strong female writers who were writing for Elaine.
Right.
Right. So it was for Elaine from a female perspective.
Yeah, that's right.
So then, as a guy, we don't know what that perspective is.
Right.
In the same way that a white guy may not understand the Latino perspective, and and so they're sitting there writing, and it's like it's different. So it is refreshing. You just got to sit down and go, oh, you know what? I never thought of it like that.
Right.
That's what comedy's supposed to be for.
So did you went to UCLA? You took classes in stand-up, in comedy?
Yeah, I did. Well, that my mom's very supportive like that.
So let's go back to, I would have imagined you were from someplace else.
I'm from L.A. I
Yeah.
was born and raised in L.A. Only child, single mom. She's I'm a firstborn American. My mom's from Central America. So I have family from Belize, Jamaica, Honduras. So it's like it's a hodgepodge of things.
Right.
So
because through there, different nationalities and different things. I was in.
bro, people don't. I always say people want to know what you are so they can know how to hate you. And so for me, I've always just been like, it is what it is, So I'm like, I should say I identify as black.
yeah.
But that's just I know it's just a small percentage of, and it's also because of how I grew up. I grew up in a mostly black neighborhood, ghetto adjacent, So that's
Where was that?
in L.A., off near Pico and La Brea. Remember Okie Dog?
Sunnyside.
Oh yeah, you grew up around there?
Yeah, mid. What's that called? Midtown.
Midtown.
Wait a minute, Okie Dog out in Fairfax?
No, it was Okie Dog on Pico. It was the original Okie Dog.
I should drive RTD bus up Pico.
Yeah,
26
Pico.
line.
Wait a minute, you drove a
Pico
fucking
and
bus?
Yeah, I did.
You just
Wait a
finding
minute,
this out.
I was a Jackie Gleason before I became a cop. I drove for 3 months. They gave me my welcome aboard speech, and I said, thank you very much. I'll give you my 2-week notice because I'm going.
You didn't like it? Oh, you went to...
No, I was going to the department. That's the only job that ever really gave me nightmares. Fucking driving a bus is
Listen, man, they got to put the driver at the back of the fucking bus. You can't be driving with your fucking back turned.
Yeah,
man.
not to those animals.
Hell,
you know what I mean?
On a motherfucker. What's the craziest shit you saw?
Well, I had my nieces. I didn't see it. My
You ever see
wife
the one
took
with the motherfucker with like 3 rows of teeth? that fucking YouTube thing?
No.
The dude's sitting there and he's kind of like, this is like 3 rows of teeth. He's just fucking looking straight ahead. You're like, God damn, it's on a fucking bus.
My wife took 2 of her nieces on the bus just to ride with me to see what it was like on the bus, and she was scared shitless when she saw some guys robbing people on the bus. You know, taking shit out. They saw them pickpocketing. Then they just saw them playing jack somebody. But I saw everything. I drove a bus through East LA. You know, same bus, 26 line, down to Broadway, out to Pico, and then out Pico to Rimpon, and then turn around right at Midtown Center. And at 1 o'clock in the morning, they'd get on First Street, and it's a standing load full of drunks that can't stand. But I didn't give a shit. Hey, come on, you know, they're all Mexicans. They're all getting on. They'd get on, and one guy was drunk. They all knew me because it was a regular run for me. They'd get on. He was drunk. He fell down, and then he started cussing me out. And when he started cussing me out, the other passengers who, you know, they'd hide their bags. Said, "Don't hide it. Go back there. I don't give a shit if you're drinking." Pulled over to the next stop. They said, "Open the door." They got him, and they threw his ass out. And once they threw his ass out, everybody started cheering and said, "Let's go."
Yeah.
So they.
And then you get your 2 weeks.
Yeah, and then I gave my 2 weeks.
Was it more dangerous than Vietnam?
No.
There's nothing that could be like Vietnam. Man.
That, you know what's funny what you just did? In a comedy setting, that would be hilarious.
Yeah, well,
You know what I mean? That was the comic in you took over for a second, and then you caught yourself like, actually, we're having a serious conversation.
yeah.
There's no way, but it was like, you know what I mean?
Listen, man, I would have buried myself under the fucking tents in Vietnam. I'm a fucking I would have not. Listen,
You've performed for the troops, right?
I have.
God bless you.
It's
I
like
didn't
what
know
I
that.
could give back.
God bless you. Thank you.
You know what? I remember I did it too a couple times.
Thank you.
Yeah, but I remember being
Yes,
out
sir.
there, and that's like, you know, it was like dinner time, and they said what they wanted us to do was like, hey, comics, don't sit together, just mingle out with the troops, like go sit in the thing.
Yeah.
And you just like, damn, they just wanted to feel.
Yeah.
You know, I don't know. I don't. It's
The only
a weird thing.
where I was, the only what we used to call round-eyed people from the USA, the only round-eyed group I saw were the Beach Boys. I got to see they came to where we were one time, and they put on a show. They got all fucked up. I remember the drummer grabbing the cymbal and just walking around and banging, you know, with the guys out there. It was awesome.
Did you see Apocalypse Now?
Yes, I did.
The redo. The
I saw
second
the
one?
original.
When they brought the Playboy girls to entertain the troops. And those dudes went crazy.
Yeah, I didn't see, you know, like Bob Hope. Bob Hope, God bless him, thank him for everything he did with his troop. But they all went to big bases where they could secure everything.
Well, yeah.
And they had to for just cause. But I was never fortunate enough to be around a big place like that to be able to go see him. The Beach Boys, I don't know who paid him off to do what.
They
But
said he got blown every day, Bob Hope.
God bless him. How to
That's
travel
why he
with
wanted to
him.
be away from home. So you get your dick sucked with your wife in the other room.
Go get a blow bath and a steam job.
For America. Like, is there a right hand? Is there a right hand? And I got to hold her head with this one.
I hold him in higher esteem
I
now.
remember being a little frightened, like landing in wherever we were. I think it was in Bosnia or something, you know. And then, like, you know, we're in this like Hummer, you know. And then there's like one behind, one in front, and I'm like, hey, what's going on? They were like, oh, that's security.
Damn.
And then in that moment, I thought, we need security, you know.
Yeah.
There's that moment I was like, well, oh man, what does this mean? You know, what does this mean that we need security? Is there a chance that something, you know, and I guess you just don't want to think about that. You just want to like, I'm just here. I'm trying to like spread some joy. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know what people's motivation is sometimes.
So I heard when I used to go to Walter Reed, you know, in the early 2000s or mid 2000s, and they would say that in Vietnam, I mean, it's kind of a crazy subject. When somebody got blown up, they passed. They passed. They died. But then you had the armor in these dudes, so they would lose their limbs, like their legs, but survive. Because this was protected more so than it was in Vietnam. You guys didn't have those things. And so they would die, and these dudes would live, but they would live,
They gave us,
you know.
I was flying in helicopters. They gave us armor plating, and I wouldn't wear it. I'd sit on it because we're up in the air. I didn't want somebody to shoot me in the nuts. So we'd sit on our shit rather than have it up here. Because without these, I ain't no fucking good.
I'm no good. I have them and I don't use them.
But I'm sure you put them to good use over the years.
They're only there for they're decorative.
I'm sure they're like for you. They're like a '57 Chevy. You know what I'm saying?
That's right.
They'll be at the car show. You know what I mean?
Yeah. So let me ask you this. I remember I saw was it I don't know if it was maybe Valentine's Day. I saw a post that you had, and you look very, very happy, man.
Yeah, I just got married.
I know, but you know, you look
Congratulations,
really happy.
Yeah.
And I thought, wow, man, how great that this couple looks really happy.
Yeah, I know. I didn't know. I got married, and I didn't realize what I was missing until I was in it. You know, even though we were together 6 years and all that. I mean, I regret it. I regret not thinking more how important it is to like fall in love, start a family, and all this kind of stuff. When I was younger, I just was so focused on, you know, trying to make it and being hurt before and then being closed off.
Right.
Because now I'm spreading the word to like young men. I'm saying to them, you know, here's a question I always ask a young dude who's like in a relationship, but I was like, hey, you want to get married? They're like, hey, I'm doing my thing.
Right.
I just go, well, how old do you want to be when your kid is 10?
Oh my God, that's right.
That's what I ask them. Just how old do you want to be when your kid is 10?
Do you do these speeches as part of the church or you just find dudes?
No, when I'm on stage, I'm talking about relationships.
Oh, all right.
You know,
I even forgot about that.
I know, but it's like, but she's like, yeah, so she's great. I mean, she's really like, I'm enjoying this.
So
It's making me work out more now. It's making me like trying to be healthy.
You lost a lot of weight.
I'm trying to lose more weight. I'm trying to be healthy because I want to last. You know what I mean? Because now I just turned 50 and I just got married. You know, so it's crazy.
Yeah. Would you have done? You had hurts and relationships that have gone bad before.
Yeah.
Have you ever been close to being married and then?
No. That's the thing too. Is like I never. And so then because of the being hurt one time really bad, that kind of like my thought process was like, oh, that's it. Let me just work on me and like
Yeah.
And it's such a solitary business to be a comic to try to make it through because it's about cultivating these relationships. It's about it's so competitive, like and you're just focused so much on yourself that you're not even thinking about having somebody to share this joy with and
right.
And all that stuff.
And is she a reporter?
No. I wish. Reporter.
What is she?
Reporter.
But you guys met.
We met online. It was just a casual thing, and then I was like, "Hey, why don't you come to my show?" It's so funny. She's
on a dating app?
No, like on Instagram.
Is the idea of a dating app crazy to go back and think that? Where would you meet somebody like in the back of?
You were asking the wrong guy about.
You get
a
massage in
dating
the
app.
back of the pennies. Yeah. The back of the.
No, this guy's old. You meet at a bar. You meet at, like that's what I'm saying.
Yeah, you met at a bar.
Years.
You meet at a bar. You meet like or somebody hooks you up, and it's like, look, I have no problem with people online dating or meeting. I just say to people, get off of it right away. Connect. Right. Then you had the vetting process. That's what the apps are. It's like you can go through Facebook and be like, all right, let me see where you went to school. Let me see pictures of you. I mean, that's what people need in a bar. You should carry around a dossier at a bar. You know what I mean?
Go take a look at it. Go over there.
You're right. Exactly. You're like, oh, you went to grammar school? Where? This is cool. Yeah. And then you can come back and be like, hey, okay, let's have a drink. You know what I mean? That's
ask for a picture of her mother, see what she's going to look like.
All that kind of stuff. This is the kind of thing you could do now online. But anyway, girl, she was a fan of this Showtime show I was on. I'm dying up here. You know what I mean? So she but she's beautiful. So she liked 3 of my pictures and followed me. So a guy like me, that's sliding into the DMs. Right. Yeah. So I sent her a message, and it was so funny because she was like, I want to. I said, well, I have a show. She was like, well, I'm actually already going to a comedy show. And I was like, well, just come to my show. I'll get you in. And then she was like, well, she didn't want to tell me this. She already had a date with a guy, and he was taking her to a comedy show. So what she did is she switched it. She said to the guy, hey, why don't we go to this comedy show? You know what I mean? So I'm on stage, and I'm doing jokes about how I'm not going to be your friend, Right. Yeah. Right to her, and this poor idiot sitting behind her doesn't realize that I'm, and then I went to I met her. She hit me up one night, was like, hey, I'm at this bar, Delilah's, because they had live music playing, and her friend was playing. Like she had a friend, this dude who was
Where's
playing.
Delilah's at?
It's on Santa Monica. It's on Santa Monica near like Crescent Heights, a little around there. You've seen it.
Yeah.
And so, but something happened. Like they were interested in each other, but the guy invited like 4 other girls.
Okay, so
And so she hit me up like, hey, you want to come over here to try to like, but then we hit it off. We went outside, started talking. Next thing you know, we started going on dates.
Wow.
Cut to, boom, here we are 6 years later, married.
Good for you. Congratulations.
Yeah.
did you guys both? Well, at what point do you say to yourself, I think I'm going to ask her to marry me?
You know, it's like, it's different now, I guess, because like, you know, we had one breakup, you know, and then when we were going to get back together, she just made it very clear. She was like, listen, I want a family. I want to, you know, boom. And I was like, I know, you know? And so I know that us getting back together, it needs to lead to that.
Yes.
So we were already on the road to that. It just,
and you were all right with that?
yes. Me saying, let's get back together was me acknowledging to her, I want the same thing too. And we're going to work
Because
towards
my
that.
mind cuts to, in my comedy head, Back to the Future when the car takes off and there's just fire burning where the rubber was. The fucking car's already gone. And you just see a little bit, but then fire. Like, say, you know, if we get back together again, this is going to lead to I want kids. But you were like, yeah, I'm with that. I'm with it.
You know, and another message I'm trying to tell young men, you know, 20, late 20s, 30s, don't be afraid if a woman who's, say, 26 says, I want to have kids and a family, because it's different for women. At 26, how long does it take? I always ask people, tell me the timeline. I'm going to ask you this question. You tell me the timeline. How long does it take for someone to meet, fall in love, get married, and have kids? Give me the timeline.
6 years.
So if she's starting at 26,
I say, is 6 years a good number? I think it's 6 years.
But then she gonna be 32.
Yeah.
She don't got time for you to be fucking around.
Right.
So I always tell young men, don't be afraid when a girl just says, hey, if she says, even in the first
What's
few
the
dates,
number you find it from on stage? Where you do your therapy?
people will say 3 years, 4 years, you know, it's in that range, but it's in the right range. But I even say that's why women are asking this question, because if let's say they're 28, they're saying, hey, this is my prime. I need to know. I can't be sitting around with you for 5 years while you trying to start your band and do your podcast, and then you leave me.
Right.
You know what I mean? So it's different. You know, we're men. We can have kids at a later age. It's not the same. So that's why people need to have these conversations. I think it's important for people to be like, you know, hey, what's your future look like? And you know, and so you can know. Don't waste time.
Do you think that's a tough conversation to have, or I think it's I don't know, man. I'm from a different era. I think that conversation scares. Scare dudes that. But also you have men and women. So the women want to be wives and they want to be mothers.
Yeah.
Not all of them, but you say
the ones that do. But isn't it crazy how that's frowned upon? Isn't it crazy how it's found? Like if there was a person who was like, to me, the most important thing in the world is to raise kids, you know, and to be there for them, right? But then you have a certain segment of people who are saying like, no, girl, go get your career. Think about, you know, it's like, no, but there's some women who are like, no, I want to be at home and raise my kids. And that's somehow, for some people, that's looked upon as like some bad thing.
So when my daughter mine was little, you know, my wife was the dominant man in the relationship. And she goes inside to go find out about.
Yeah, she gave you a rib.
And there was a little cholito dude, and his old lady took the baby inside, and he's trying to fold up the stroller in front of me. Like my windshield is like the movie screen, and this dude is looking around trying to find the lever that collapses the stroller. So I'm watching him, and it's funny because it's turning and the wheels are turning, and he can't figure it out, and she's knocking on the window, and he's like, wait. And I roll the window down, and I said to him, you all right, man? He turns over, he looks at me, he goes, I just wanted my dick sucked. He didn't know who I was. He would have said that to the police. You all right, man? I just wanted my dick sucked. And I thought,
look at me now.
Look at me. Put this fucking thing. She's knocking at it. She's got the baby. Like, come on. I can't figure it out. I was like,
all
wow,
about living up to your responsibilities.
The moment of just that dude was just so frustrated with that fucking Emerson fucking model number stroller. So.
But you did all right. You now
think
look
I did
at
all right.
you did great. Your
he
daughter's
did great.
working with you now. Your daughter's in the business
Yes.
now, working alongside you. How does that feel?
I don't know, man. I can't tell you. She's cool. You know what? My daughter's cool, man. I mean,
Well, he
it's
said
gonna
that
be
like
great. It's
she
gonna
got
be
a
great.
little bit of her mother in her.
Well, what the fuck? I mean, she's.
You
I mean, her
enabled
mom too. Her mom. You never met Ann, have you?
Yeah, I did.
Oh man, that motherfucker's crazy.
This is the realest
She
moment.
treated
ever.
me real. She treated me real nice.
Yeah. You can thank me for that. I'm paying her to treat you that. No, but the idea of it is.
Wait,
just,
is there a backstory here I don't
I'm
know
not
about?
sure. I think I just made one.
Yeah, because it's not to be like it's not to be like he's married to your ex-wife.
Where did you meet that motherfucker at?
Microsoft.
Oh yeah.
So it was all very nice.
Well, one thing I never did was save for a rainy day. So I think, back then there wasn't cash apps like Dave. So, you could get money, but people, it always comes at the wrong time. It's almost like when you say to somebody like, whenever you're in a hurry, there's always traffic. But whenever you need some money, the things come, like it says, wedding gift or a gas or a bill that, or insurance. I remember I always struggled to pay my insurance. And even though I worked, I could have used the app like Dave where you go, just let me get my insurance covered, then I'll be okay.
Sure.
Yeah. And then it's always more than you thought it was. And then that's what I think this app is for that at that time where you say, all right, I'm out of the pinch.
Sometimes you just need to reach out for help.
I mean, we've all been in a situation at some point in our lives when we're a little tight on cash. Maybe you could only afford a few gallons of gas in your tank, and then you got to save up, and you're wondering how you're going to get through it to afford a gift and all that. And that's why I think the Dave app helps. If you're living paycheck to paycheck, which, come on, after the pandemic, a lot of people are doing. A lot of people who are successful do it. And you're struggling to make ends meet. It can really be stressful when unexpected expenses come up. Now, Dave can help you get out of a pinch when you really need it.
Dave is a banking app that can help you get up to $500 instantly with extra cash. That's more money to fill your tank, buy a wedding gift, or catch up on bills. You can finally tackle those expenses that have been stressing you out without any hangups. There's no interest and no credit check needed. Millions of people have already downloaded the Dave app to get financial relief they need with extra cash. So if you're in a pinch and need some extra help, download Dave and think of it as a helping hand.
I think in the big world, like if you have an app like this and people get money and it doesn't tax you and you get, they're going to get their money back. That it is almost like somebody you can rely on, right? If you had a friend you could always go to and say, hey, help me out of this thing.
Download the Dave app from the App Store right now. That's DAVE. Sign up for an extra cash account and get up to $500 instantly. For terms and conditions, go to thedave.com/legal. Instant transfer fees apply.
Banking provided by Evolve. Remember, FDIC. Future you will thank you. What relationship do you have with Richard Pryor as a comedian?
I came at a point where, technology is so different right now, right? So you got you could see everything now.
Yeah.
At that time, you really couldn't see a lot.
It's funny how that was.
Right? So
Yeah.
for me, the person that really inspired me more was Eddie Murphy.
Yeah.
So to me, I saw Richard Pryor through the lens of Eddie Murphy.
Right.
And it wasn't until later that I was like, oh, this is what Richard Pryor was about. And to me, when I think about Richard Pryor, I don't necessarily think about Richard Pryor, the comedian. I think about Richard Pryor, the comedian activist, just coming up at a time when the world was so, you couldn't say this, you couldn't say that, white versus black, minorities and all that. So, and how he was like a visionary in that way, but in terms of for art and that kind of thing, I didn't look at it like that. I just didn't.
Yeah,
I was more in line with how Eddie Murphy was this performer.
Right. It's funny that it wasn't looked at as a performance per se. It's as a set. You don't look at Live in Long Beach as one of the best recorded performances of stand-up comedy ever. You didn't look at it like that. When you went to the Comedy Store and you would see David Letterman, or you would see, or Eddie Murphy would go in there, or Howie Mandel, or all those other guys that were just, they're iconic now. But then I remember standing in front of the Comedy Store, seeing those guys come in and out like nothing,
Yeah.
just.
There was another comedian that just died within the last year. There was a big activist.
Dick Gregory.
Dick Gregory. And I can't compare Dick Gregory to Richard. Richard did the same thing. But to me, he wasn't as aggressive as Dick Gregory, and he was hilarious. He was a killer. Everything. And he talked about real life, not so anti one way or another. He was good. And I love Eddie Murphy.
When Eddie Murphy got his Mark Twain Award, we all went to that Italian restaurant in D.C. I forget what it's called. So we're all in the back room, and Dick Gregory's there, and Chappelle's there. I think Chris Rock and everybody's there. Arsenio and Trevor Noah, all the guys there. And Dick Gregory talks for 40 minutes straight about healing and about the powers of the body. And it's just going on. Like, he never runs out of things to say. And Chappelle standing up, and Dick Gregory says, there's a doctor in Africa that has a cure for every ailment that the human body can have. And then Chappelle goes, does he have a card? Like, give me his card. So instead of interrupting him, he just slid it in between the sentences. Does he have a card? Because if he can fix everything, we want that motherfucker. We want his card.
Yeah, where is he?
Shouldn't we be calling him?
Yeah.
Yeah. But he was.
It's funny how when you get older is when you get into like vitamins and taking care of yourself, and you don't know you need to take care of yourself until you need to take care of yourself.
He was making the most sense of anything I've ever heard.
Dick Gregory?
Until the last 10 seconds, he said, and then the dude took his glasses off, and green lights shot out of his eye socket. Everybody's like, fuck. We went down that road.
You know who's like that? Farrakhan. Farrakhan will be talking, and you'll hear him. You'll be like, "Okay, maybe, all right."
Yeah.
And then at the end, and the Jews. Then you're like, "Oh, come on, man! Come on, man!"
So close.
We were almost there.
Light shot out of his eyes. You're like, shit.
Is this what the podcast is about? I
think
thought
so.
I thought we were going to talk about murders.
No, there's some in there.
Somebody asked me what is the podcast about. I said whichever
That's
way
true.
George
It's all
wants it
good.
to go.
Did they settle with the vendors at Dodger Stadium?
Yes, they did.
Did you go to the All-Star game?
No, I wish I would. It was a great game.
What sports
I
are you
watched
into?
it.
What sports are you
I'm
into?
into basketball and football. Baseball is just
The D League is becoming quite a bit of a thing that people should see, huh? It's over now, but
Yeah.
all the guys, Shaq's son and
Yeah.
Scottie Pippen's son and those
Actually,
young cats.
I find that basketball has, in the last year and a half, has risen in popularity, and I think it's because of all the off-season stuff and these personalities.
Yeah.
But,
Yeah.
man, baseball is just the most boring,
Fucking,
Shaq and Charles Barkley had made basketball interesting to me.
bro,
They're
sometimes-
great.
Can I tell you something? Sometimes I don't even watch the game. Like, I record just them.
Yes, yes.
I don't even watch the game. I just go, let me hear what they had
are
to say.
hilarious
Yeah, they're
together.
great.
it's funny because I saw Charles play and then I saw Shaq play, but the game now is a different
Game.
Man, it's a different game.
It's a different game. But that's what happens, man. The eras, through the eras, it changes. Look how comedy changes in the same way. You know what I mean?
These dudes are, man. The identity of teams too is like when the draft, like they're all so good that there isn't like a marquee player that a team can have. A team can have guys and they're all fucking great instead of just having like a Michael Jordan in Chicago.
Well, I don't know, man. I don't know if I agree with that. I really do think that we gravitate towards greatness. And when you look at, and that's what we do, we want people to rise to that mountain and see if they can stay up there. And that's what drives the ratings.
Right.
You know? I mean, LeBron James just became a billionaire, the first active billionaire player in a sport.
Wow.
And so, he's still at age 38. And so who's going to be the next,
Right.
We keep trying to do that. We pushed Steph Curry up there. He became the greatest shooter ever. We want that.
Right.
We want super teams. We want to see those. We want to see them. We want to see them succeed, and we want to see them taken down.
Yeah.
I don't think we want to, because if everybody's great, nobody's great.
Yeah, nobody's great. Is the baseball season too long? I think it is.
I just think baseball is just too boring. It's not a great TV sport.
And the fucking things they're doing in between, like you had 2 minutes to get to start.
I like the way they were going to end.
Yeah.
If the All-Star game yesterday, if it ended in a tie score, they were going to have a home run derby after the game. In order to break the tie score.
It's just
three guys from each team, and I thought
it's like they don't have enough parity. But the ratio isn't enough. You just have it's becoming this sort of regional sport,
Yeah.
Like when they were going to go on strike, I was laughing because I was like, "Oh, you think people are going to care if this doesn't come back?"
Right.
No one cares. Especially after
It's a
COVID.
long-ass season.
Especially after
It is
COVID.
a long-ass
After
season.
COVID, we reprioritize what we find important. If baseball was going to be like, yeah, we're going to go on strike, and you think people are going to be clamoring for that, they weren't.
What did you find out about yourself during the pandemic?
I found out that I can monetize my personality in other ways than just being a stand-up comedian or
Right.
actor. I started gaming on Twitch. I started just getting into different
What's
worlds.
that? Tell me, talking about good gaming.
Yeah, I just was like, I play games every day on Twitch. Erik Griffin Gaming. That's what I'm on all the time. Erik Griffin Gaming. So now I'm just an old man on there gaming with people. And so I find I can monetize that. I got, during the pandemic, I got all these opportunities in gaming because I started doing that.
Wow.
Because I was like the guy from Workaholics, now games. And
Right.
so I was like, oh, so you could do other things.
But you were into gaming.
Not,
but
not
not-
like to think that, oh, you could become a profession. Or,
Right.
you know what I mean? So it's crazy.
You know what that is, gaming?
no.
Explain.
Like
explain.
Xbox,
Neither
it's like
do I.
playing Call of
But I was
Duty.
going to put it on him. You don't.
Oh yeah, I know what it is.
Twitch. It's
I
just like-
game. I Twitch.
But Twitch is.
Just being on Twitch, it's just like
So when you go on, you alert all your followers that you're on.
yeah.
and
Then
you
it's
start-
I'm gaming live. There's a little webcam picture of me.
They have
It's similar to
professionals.
podcasting.
Right.
They have
That's all it is.
professional stuff doing that now.
Yeah.
Because I
The
remember.
pandemic put a kibosh on a lot of it because people but they were live events and people were coming to see people
Yes.
do this.
Yes.
And, there's money to be made in a lot of different areas now. I mean, this, for instance, has changed comedy.
It really has.
So now we have a way to go direct to consumer. Hey, fans. Here's me. I'm being funny here, or I'm being serious, or I'm being whatever, and it's
Yeah.
direct to fans. So now we don't need to manufacture fans in these other ways. Now you just have this.
What
you
do
know?
people like about this podcast?
Gil.
I had to ask.
Yeah. Is that your ex-wife back there?
My voice got a little bit higher. But it's
That'd be great. She's back there. She's
I wouldn't be surprised that motherfucker came out of the hard drive. It almost becomes the most honest place to speak because everything is about changing.
Yeah.
Like they say, hey, get me this guy, and then they change you. Like I think for stand-up, I think even for stand-ups, at a point where I remember I saw Tim Allen in the early 90s, and everything that was in Home Improvement was in his act. Like the whole Tool time and all that was in his act.
Well, the show is based off that.
So you start looking at guys and you start thinking, is there anything that I have in my act that would be comparable to that? And I didn't have it. So you stand there and you watch a guy that's the #1 TV show when it premieres, and you start thinking, well, fuck, maybe I don't have the ability to create a show. And somewhere along the line, I found it. And that show 20 years ago we started. It was till 2007.
Yeah.
So I mean, to think back on what I thought of myself in '96 versus where I ended up in 2006 was kind of wild, man. And
That's
you
a
think
great
how
show
how
still.
that thing could.
It still makes me
How the
laugh.
tide could change for somebody so fast.
Yeah.
And when I think it did, I think there was a I don't know about comedians now, but there was a dynamic of comedians that were, you just wished motherfuckers would do bad, like back then. Like everybody was wishing everybody. If you saw the Tonight Show, dudes would be watching a dude eat it. They're like, oh.
And why did you think that is?
I just think it was like that crabs in the barrel. Like they pull the dudes down. And there was no social media, so you heard about a dude and then you saw him. And you go, that dude ain't shit. And then it just became this kind of fucking cesspool of just.
Now, did you find yourself that? Do you regret your part in that?
You know what? I actually got out of it. Like 1 year, like 98. So there was 3 years of just really dark times. In 98, New Year's Eve, I was just like, I'm not worried more about myself than about everybody else. And everybody there used to be even a paper called Just for Laughs where it was just a paper that you could get at a comedy club and they would have things that dudes were doing. And when people would see that, they would be like, fuck him. And
that's called Instagram now.
Right? So when I decided to let that go, I think everything changed. Like, I really let it go.
I always used to feel like the Latino comedy community, like, it was like they were playing King of the Hill. Mm-hmm. Like it had to be only one at the top,
right,
at a time. So it was like, whoever, then no one else can be up there. It has to be this one guy, and then like as if there wasn't enough for everybody.
Right, sure, exactly. Yeah.
I laugh at all of them. I don't care. Latino, black, white, you're funny, I laugh.
Yeah. So what type of father do you think you would be?
We'll see. I'm trying. I'm trying to be an old dad. I'm gonna be an old ass dad.
Did you go have you gone and get checked to make sure?
Yeah, I'm doing.
Right?
Yeah, I mean, that's funny you said. I'm in the process of that now.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So we'll see.
Because how do they? Have you started it? Have you started to go to a fertility maybe?
Yeah, well, they do it different now. Now you could just something comes in the mail. You bust in it and then you send it off. Yeah, that's how it works now, man. Yeah, then they'll test it out over there.
I remember when I had a vasectomy, you had to get busted out in a bag in a tube and take it in. I took it into the hospital and you're kind of embarrassed. Here it is.
Here's my cum.
And right here. And I waited in line and I said, here it is. It's, wrong line. You got a Siemens. You got to go over here to that line.
How embarrassing.
Right in front of everybody.
She must have gone on the loudspeaker. Yeah. We got a Siemens sample over here in aisle 2. We need it to be in aisle 7.
What do you think that, I mean, I only have one daughter, and I try to have more. And what I would tell Ann was, I spent so many years trying to get someone not pregnant that, trying to get someone pregnant. It's like, how do you turn the fucking boat around? Hang on! It's like, you're not pregnant, thank God. But it's like, it used to be so, like,
this is what your show should be about.
What the earth was about, it's like, guy puts it in, guy takes it out, girl calls the dude, and dude's like, oh my God, what are we going to do now? And then it becomes, I think, hormonal, and then, with the guy, and
I remember hormoning.
Hormone, wipe your dick on her curtain. But then, ovulation kits and all that stuff is...
Well, now my wife has an app. So there's an app that tracks. So she'll tell me like, isn't
it wild, man?
This is the first time we're like, so this is like actually
get home here.
We are like 7 days actually starting today. There's like this is like so.
And you're wasting your time here.
Last night I put it in. You know what I mean? So we'll see how.
But you're putting it in with a purpose. It's not recreational fucking. It's like fucking with a purpose.
No, now it's like a job, which I don't like.
Right.
You know what I mean? So it's like you got to keep.
But do they do that shit like they did it with the legs?
So I like to take her legs and go like this. I'm trying to shake it up. Where you going? We gotta make this stick.
Is there a way that like nobody moves after the fucking thing? Don't move.
Yeah, I try to stir it up.
Do they send ways to like to do it or insemination?
I mean, no, but I'm sure there is a.
I'm sure there is.
Yeah, we're killing him.
He's got kids. How many kids you have? 3?
3 legitimate.
God.
Oh, what does that mean, legitimate?
Well, I don't know where they're anyplace else. Remember, I was out of the country for when I was a kid. I got married. He's talking about how long. When I got out of the Army, I had 3 goals in life. One to go to college, one to become a cop because that cop saved my life. That's why I turned around. And number 3, I wanted to hook up with my girlfriend, my ex-girlfriend, that had written me a Dear John in Vietnam. Oh. And I wanted to hook her, get her back eating out of the palm of my hand, and then break it off in her because I wanted revenge.
That used to be a big deal.
I was pissed. I was full of bitterness.
Wasn't it?
Oh,
get
yeah.
them back. Be nice to them. Get them back. Fuck them, and then be like, get the fuck out of here.
Yeah. Then I wanted revenge. Well, fuck you. I didn't want that. I got out in June of 70. By September of 70, I had her eating out of the palm of my hand. December 26, 1970, we got married. And it's been 51 years. I lost 2 out of 3. 2 out of 3 I won. The third one.
51 years, Eric.
Wow, that's great,
man.
So, and then 3 kids. We're still doing it. We didn't have to ovulate or take messages. They didn't have apps for it then either.
But as a guy gets
you
older,
were just Latino.
yeah. What's wrong with you? They're probably a fucking dude. Hey, let me try. Guys, listen. I'm trying to have.
Well, I mean, it's actually harder than people think to get pregnant, and it should be. We're already overpopulated.
Does the potency of sperm have a end date as the older you get? No, because dudes in their 70s, fucking Anthony Quinn had them.
Yeah, but you still have to be making sure you're taking care of yourself, having the proper vitamins. There are certain vitamins and supplements and things that keep you, active and,
Isn't it crazy, man? Like, the motherfucking Chalks or 1-a-day vitamin. That people used to think that was it. Chalks was like, remember Chalks? Was like kid vitamins. Fucking Chalks.
You gotta have your vitamin D.
1-a-day vitamin.
You gotta have your zinc. You gotta have.
My family never afforded vitamin. We didn't have shit when I was a kid.
Those are your fucking vitamins.
Yeah, but I bet you if they examined like the type of food. Mm-hmm. that you ate. I mean, there's I'm sure there's
all
a lot
I ever heard was eat pineapple and your semen tastes sweet. That's all I heard.
Has that been myth busted yet?
And how does it,
does that work?
How does it taste?
It does taste sweet.
Well, he kisses his wife after.
That's yeah, they don't even do that in porn. No thanks.
No, I don't know. Those are just, you are what you eat.
But what did I eat? But there's nothing like seeing your baby come out.
I'm ready. I'm so ready for all of that.
I wish that for you.
Yeah, I am. I'm ready for all that.
Right? Everything it does change.
You know what's funny is I had already been thinking about this. So one thing that really did touch me was when we were on that Zoom call for that audition, and you were like, "This, I'm working with my daughter," and I thought, "Oh, how great is that?" Oh, it's like
it really is great.
You know what I mean? So it's because it's like you did this, and then now she's following in the footsteps in her own way. So I thought, oh man, this is what I missed out on. So I'm like,
but it really is very special. I mean, you think about. I mean, I was there. I cut the cord. I walked down the hall with her. I did the whole thing, and then being over there at NBC, and we're doing this scene, and you're looking at her. And you're just like, wow, man, I've taken this journey with this young lady here. And part of...
And she's not on a pole. You know what I mean?
Yeah, she's not on a pole. And part of her... In the pilot, I tell them they always leave the lights on. So in the pilot...
This is a show I didn't book, by the way.
No, but didn't I say...
I auditioned, and then,
But Al got... But didn't I say that
That's the guy you wanted, though.
Didn't I tell you...
You wanted him, right?
Yeah.
Why was I auditioning? That's what I want to ask.
For the future of it, when it gets picked up. But didn't I tell everybody how much I admired you?
Yeah, you did.
I did, right? Yeah. No, I mean...
I'm just the competitive, bitter actor in me right now.
No. But I mean...
I wanted the part.
But you know how I mean, the thing that works for me in these shows like this show is that Al's well-adjusted, you're well-adjusted, I'm not. So in the show, I want you guys to tell me where I've gone wrong and what I should do with my life. And I think that's the angle of the show that I want to bring.
Right.
Is guys older that are you too old to get it right? And I'm the one that doesn't know. The other one, the first show, the Ernie character was a guy that I was helping. I was like the big brother. And in this one, you guys are well-adjusted and I'm not.
I like that.
And the friends get along with the ex-wife where I'm like, what the fuck are you guys talking about? She's great. She's funny and she's, beautiful. Just like, you're just kind of, you're a man on your own island.
Yeah, I like it.
and trying
I
to.
should be your therapist on this show.
Yeah, I think it would be awesome.
Right?
Yeah.
You come see me weekly or whatever it is like
Yeah.
that. Ooh, we write that in.
No, we did that. Yeah, no,
That'd be
but
hilarious.
I think that to me, that's all. And then a way that guys are now, as they get older, the thing that the male we used to get back then was that a guy would watch the show with his daughter, and she was at an age where the daughter started to leave, and then they would watch the show together, and he's like, I got my baby back before, they start to grow up and go. So, and I think that this could be an opportunity of the show to be able to do that.
That's good, man. I'm glad. I think that in there is a certain amount of jealousy and envy that I think is okay as long as it's not in a negative place, but I think as long as you use it to inspire yourself. So I think it's like when you see someone else doing something, it's okay to be like, damn, I wish that was me.
Right.
But congratulations on that.
Absolutely.
And I think that's the things that we mean. And that's how I thought about when I saw that. I was like, that show got picked up.
Yeah.
Because when you don't get the part, you're like, No,
but
I was glad that,
But also, what you're talking about me 20 years later. I was fucking green as green back then, and I was trying to work hard so that we had a place to go every day for 120 episodes. Because the first time that the show aired, the first Wednesday that it aired, there was a thing in the LA Times, and it said, "Is this the one?" And it looked like it would be an article that was encouraging, and the first side of the page was, and then you turn the page to page 4, and then the rest of it isn't. Yeah. So then when I went to work, you could sense that. It was the day of the premiere of the show, and you could sense that we were rehearsing, and people were like,
"Ooh, is this gonna go?"
So I said, "Hey," I took everybody in the makeup room, closed the door, and I showed them the paper, and I said, "Listen, you see this? Doesn't matter. We're gonna go and we're gonna perform, and we're gonna do our thing based on people, not based on writers."
Yeah.
And now 20 years later, and having mine in
doing
there,
it again.
I feel the same. I'm smarter than I was 20 years ago, and I know the angles to take to be able to have people watch the show and still be funny, but also be something that I don't say it seems kind of crazy to say redeeming, but to get somebody to think about, why would I put you on the show? Why would I put Al on the show to bring out the things that were inadequate in myself, but inadequate in people that are watching as well.
Yeah. What's funny too is that, we're living in a world now where you want to talk about a useless profession, critic.
Right.
We don't need it anymore.
Right.
We don't need it. The reason is because now people can go to the internet and now 100,000 people can watch your show. And they go online and they go, I liked it, I liked it, I liked it. So now I have a sample size of a large number of people are telling me that they like this show.
Right.
Who are like me.
Right.
As opposed to uppity
Exactly.
6 uppity fucks who think
I
they
can't
understand
agree with you
art.
more.
And we're like, so why are they deciding that? Why are they the tastemakers? So when I look at these things and I see this is always a sign to me. It'll be like let's say it's 1 out of 10, right? So it'll be critics gave this a 6, but the audience gave it a 9. Give me the 9.
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah. It's true. And then there's some guys that there was a guy at the USA Today, this guy, Robert Bianco. I don't think he's probably not there anymore. But this dude, it would be never missed an opportunity to take a shot at me. I mean, never in the, and I mean, I remember being on a plane and when American Idol came out, I mean, and somebody had to be against them. And I was against American Idol the last 3 years that the show was on and survived. I mean, they were just killing people, man. I mean, people were watching the second half hour of American Idol with the results.
Yeah.
Just killing shows. And I survived because I had laid down enough of a foundation where people would still tune in.
Right.
And even beat them in some places.
Right.
And that's what I'm hoping for this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So make sure you watch it. Coming to NBC.
Right. And no shows got picked up. I mean, this was a crazy season, man. No shows got picked up overall, and they canceled shows with huge stars, man. There's no
rhyme or reason to this now.
And there's no kind of, you put money in the bank, they're going to look at you and say, we'll take care. Ted Danson got canceled from fucking NBC, and he was on The Good Life, and he did Cheers, and it's they're like, hey, sorry, we're going to pick up your show, man.
Yeah.
There's no more kind of a handshake. Don't worry, you'll be all right. It's just.
Yeah, well, good for you, man. I'm glad. I'm happy for you, dude. You're still in it. You're still in it, man.
I'm in it, man.
You're still relevant.
And then I watched, Sanford and Son growing up. Who, I mean, amazing.
Yeah.
And that's the time spot I got.
Oh,
I
that's
got Friday
great.
at 8. With Young Rock at 8:30.
My favorite thing from Sanford to Son was always, you like a lollipop, a all-day sucker.
They were so fucking awesome.
I know. Those shows are just not around
Friday,
anymore.
8 o'clock, and I get to hang with you.
You get to come to Eric will be there.
Yeah, we're gonna work this out.
Let's go.
Yeah.
Yeah, but
think it'd be
anyways,
good.
I don't know. This has been. Is this it?
I
That
appreciate
it?
you coming in. Yeah.
Yeah, man. I feel like that we got to a good stopping point.
Wasn't it great?
It was great.
Yeah, it's good to sit with you,
what?
man.
This is another thing I was going to say about what's great about podcasts. In what world, in the circumstance where you and I would sit down and chat like this for an hour?
No.
It just is not a thing that just would happen, you know?
Yeah.
And it's like you kind of see people in passing, and it's like it takes a long time. Sometimes you just catch it at a certain time. Like that night you just happened to see me was just because you guys had been hanging out. It was you, DL, and whatever, and you guys were there with Ruben, and you just happened to be like, oh, let me watch this guy for a second. And that's just how it goes. You wait. But this is what's great about this format, man. To sit down with someone who, you know, I've admired for many years. I've seen, I know about you. I've seen you. I've been like, you know, it's like from afar. You know, it's like, you know, you're one of the dignitaries of the, you know, the business. And now here we are sitting down chopping it up for an hour like two regular dudes. Yeah. So it's great. I really appreciate you
don't
guys.
golf, do you?
You know what? I wish I did. I went one time. let me explain my golf story. Okay. Golf is fun when you first start, when you go to a par 3 course.
Yes.
And you're like, you know what? This is kind of fun. Then I went to one of those big, and I was like, I can't do it. It's just I don't have that in me. It's just not one.
What
of
is
those.
it like? Is it like going into the jungle like you see a real lion?
Yeah.
A real motherfucker that can play. You're like, ah, damn.
And you know what? And I've been to some celebrity ones. I've done it, but I only go 9. I just go, I'm out, man.
Yeah.
Because like that ball, where is it?
You know what? There used to be a great fucking comedian golf tournament in almost like in Palos Verdes out there, where all the comedians played. Like guys would fly in. And they don't do
Why
it
don't they do that anymore? You need to start that. You need to do it again, man.
That dude from the Bay Area would come back.
Because Chris Spencer is always like, you can link up with Chris Spencer.
Yeah.
And y'all
do the
comedians golfing. Because I don't mind doing it when it's like that.
And it didn't even matter if a dude could play or not.
Yeah.
You know, yeah.
I've done so many. I like one time I was on a celebrity, and it was me and like Omarosa were on the same team.
That's fucking hilarious.
Yeah, it was me and Omarosa golfing on the same, and I was like, what am I doing here? You know what I mean? So,
but you know, as an advocate for you know, I've been playing golf forever. I got Michael Clark Duncan golfing. I would see him at the Laker games, and I'd say, hey, man, come and play golf. He was dating Omarosa, and they played golf, and he passed, unfortunately.
Yeah.
But he just found something that he loved.
Yeah, I get it, though. But, you know, golf reminds me a lot of stand-up comedy, where it's like you are really not competing with these other people.
Right.
You're competing with the course, and you're trying to get, you know, better numbers for yourself each time. Even though all these people are on the scoreboard, that scoreboard has nothing to do with people competing against each other, as they are competing against this thing that you could be doing great up to, you're doing great, I'm going to win this.
Right.
And then you bogey.
Right.
So it's like it's about you know, staying focused and staying committed and being like, you know, consistent, and that's why it's really very much like.
Can I tell you Richard Pryor's story?
Yeah, please.
So Richard Pryor lived on Parthenia in Northridge, the Wrigley estate, the Wrigley Gum estate.
Right.
And Jennifer Pryor told me this, and he had Uncle Dickie from the pool hall back in Peoria. So Uncle Dickie comes in, and he's limping, and Uncle Dickie was a pimp. You know, and he ran a pool hall in Peoria, and he was out there. Now Richard brought the family out here. And Uncle Dickie comes into the house, and he gets out, and Richard and Jennifer on the porch, they go inside, and he takes his shoe off, and he's got this blue foot, you know, and he's like, Rich, look at my foot. And so Richard's sitting in this chair, and Jennifer's sitting on the arm of the chair, and he goes, I need an operation, Rich, look at my foot. And it's just, he's got diabetes, you know, he might lose his foot. So Jennifer says, give him the money, Richard. And Richard Pryor goes, bitch, you're supposed to be talking me out of it. You know? So, doesn't the wife always? So he gives him 50 grand to get his surgery. Next time they see him, he rolls up in a fucking Cadillac, white with a red interior,
no foot,
with a woman under each arm helping him walk. That was his answer. Uncle, that was his answer to my foot's fucked up. Let me get a Cadillac. with a red interior with a woman under each arm helping me walk up. Yeah, definitely he was one of a kind.
Yeah, it was a great
bro.
documentary. Did you see that documentary about Pryor?
Yeah, I think so.
And there was you saw. Wasn't it? You know what was fascinating about it is I didn't realize all of that stuff that was going on.
Neither did I. It was
Like
a
how
great
difficult his
documentary.
life was, and how the drugs and all this stuff, and how it derailed what might have been an even greater career. Right? It was very we don't know. We don't know people.
No, you really don't.
We don't know what's going on in people's lives. But
Wow. I mean, that dude was like the Dalai Lama of the. I always say that was the only
He was the
black
first
person my grandmother let in the house by VHS. I love you, man.
Thank you.
And I'll see you on my show.
Yeah, I hope
I'm
so.
I'm gonna tell you.
It was a pleasure.
You're awesome,
Yes,
Eric.
man, pleasure. Thank
I
you.
wish you the best, and I wish you the best in your marriage, and also
working on
and you're doing it.
trying to bust inside.
It's a beautiful
We're trying to bust
institution.
inside.
Yeah.
Cheers.
Don't say it like a prison.